So excited. I am your host of the Veronica Edwards Show, Veronica Edwards, CPA. And this is our third edition of Having a Live. This is something that my internal V team, Aaron Matan and Jylan Farr, has been working with me on this year for continuing to extend our social media reach that we want to start having lives on a monthly basis. And with March being Women's History Month, I could not think of another person to have on than none other than Miss Irene Jenny Pickens, who is a personal friend of mine, born and raised in Asheville, self taught artist, spent more than 4 decades creating in fibers, pencil, pen, ink, pastels, oils. It goes on and on and on. And we're going to talk about later how she drew my immediate family as well as my beloved father, Vernon Vaughn Jr. So without further ado, Miss Jenny Pickens, self-taught artist, my girl, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me, Veronica.
Look at Jenny being all very nice and dainty. Girl, we live. It's
Well, it's
nighttime. We
live. That's
turn
what
it
I
up.
know.
I told Jenny, get you a mug. I got something in my mug. My friend, the V team knows what's in my mug.
And water.
Jenny, thank you so much. Jenny's also my first guest to be live that the show airs next month. Jenny's show is going to air April the 16th. And even though Women's History Month ends in March, I wanted us to end out Women's History with you, Miss Pickens. So I am just so honored to have you here. I know you're a very busy lady. And before we even get started, let's just talk about the whole vibe, the earrings, the doll in the bag. I'm seeing, tell us the artwork that's all over you before we get started.
Okay. So I am. I know it's hard to say, but sometimes I'm a little shy. Well, I kind of, well, not really shy, more like reserved or
Yes.
kind of an introvert. So my
Mm-hmm.
way of expressing myself is through my art, and it's also my earrings and my clothing. So I
Oh,
speak that way, and sometimes my hair, and it's
everything. Your
so I
glasses.
earrings. I've always and glasses. I've collected earrings for, when I was a little girl. That's the only thing I love to have is earrings. So I have so many, and these are one of my favorites. I think these were made in Kenya,
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken.
wow.
But I ordered these. But yeah, so these little
Okay.
hand beaded
Kenya.
ones.
Yes.
And so my doll behind me is inspired by a trip I took to Charleston. My second trip, which I felt like I'm connected there some kind of way. So I made a doll after a painting I had bought from one of the artists down there. So
And I'm from the low country. So whenever I see dolls like that, I'm like, hold up. That in a sweetgrass basket. Anybody from the low country knows that's Charleston all day. Now, what about this other photo over? Yes, honey, that's Jenny Pickens' work right there.
so I do. I take sometimes I'm just get my sketchbook, and sometimes if I'm on a bed or somewhere, and I have these alcohol markers. I fell in love with alcohol markers,
What's
and
alcohol markers different
a
from?
friend
How
told
is
me
it
about
different?
them. He's like, "Have you ever used alcohol markers? They're basically like markers, but they're just alcohol based. So you can layer them and they bleed and they blend really good. And so I've got some of the skin tone, and so I'll
Alcohol
sit there
marker.
and I'll doodle and just add the color to it. I don't know how they're going to turn out. And that's one I did, but I got it printed onto metal. Just
Ooh,
yeah. So I have this whole collection of these pictures nobody's seen, but
yeah.
just they'll come out one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're talking because I'm always Jenny Pickens' favorite fan, number one fan, all the things. I'm always like, Jenny needs to be everywhere. And so I just love all your work. So, Jenny, for those that are meeting you for the first time on this live, please tell the listeners a little bit about you without giving away everything that we're going to talk about next month. But how did you get started as a self taught artist over 4 decades?
It started when I was a little kid. It was my it was a lot of things personally going on at home, and so I realized that I created this little space. I was making things with boxes, like soda boxes,
How
and
old were you, Jenny, when you
oh
started doing this?
gosh, 4 or 5 years old. It's
Oh my
crazy. Yeah,
goodness. And no
it's
one was like, come on, Jenny, let's do art together. You were just creating.
It was crazy. I think my from what my grandmother said that she had a brother that could draw, and I had an uncle that was really good too. So I think it's genetics just passed along to me, and it just came natural. So I would just create my little space,
Wow.
and that's how it started.
Man, it just in Western North
Um,
Carolina, you've always lived in Asheville, never moved away.
no, I went away for a little bit to Hilton Head Island for maybe a few months, but
I
Asheville's
don't see you in Hilton Head.
no, I know. It was an art thing I did, and yeah, I'm back here.
But
It's
Savannah's right there. I could see you in Savannah
mhm,
because that's
mhm,
like Charleston. But Hilton Head,
right,
okay.
right.
I
So
didn't know that. So just self-taught, and I listed off all the things, but I don't know what all this stuff means. Like when I hear people, when what does it mean when you hear people? Is your term like multimedia, media something? What do we call mixed
they
media?
call it multidisciplinary or something like that. But I just say mixed media because my media, what I choose to use is different all the time. It's a mix of whatever. So whether I'm making dolls, whether I'm taking some old jewelry and repurposing it, whether I'm
Using Jenga pieces and
yeah,
making miniatures that look amazing.
right, just
Yes.
I see art and everything. Like if I go to a store, I'm looking, I can find some, oh, this could be this or this could be that. So,
Yeah.
repurposing, just reusing it.
I bet you don't throw nothing away.
No, I don't.
But I've been to Jenny's house because she's a creative. She also is my braider. She'll braid my hair and she's generous enough to let me come to her house. And I'm always like, Jenny, I want you to decorate my house. Because like every spot is not cluttered. It's just filled with personality and just blackness. Like everything in Jenny's
Blacks.
house is blackety black, black. I love that. And why is that the root of everything that you do, Jenny?
It's a story with my mom, and it's growing up, and you don't really realize how things are because at the time, the adults around you don't want you to feel or see the stuff that they're actually going through. But
Right.
as the child I was very observant, so I could see it and feel it. But even like in school, the doll, even dolls that they're the color of the dolls, how they looked, how we were in school, how we dressed, how we were
Wow.
set different. And so I got to a point in my life where I'm like, especially with my hair, that was probably one of the things because my hair was so thick. And I
Mm.
mean, like, so then my sister would braid it up just so I wouldn't have to go to that straightening comb and still get ready for
Oh,
church.
my mama stayed burning my ears on that straightening
Oh
comb.
my goodness. And I was what you call tender headed. So I had like
Me
thick,
too.
big hair. And
Mhm,
so got
mhm,
turned on to a
mhm, mhm.
relaxer. And that was
Yep.
because people said, oh, you got bad hair.
Yes, they would. Yeah.
Yeah.
And shame you like they would tell my
Yeah.
mom, "Why you waited so long to put a relaxer in her hair?" And I was 10.
Yeah.
But I was excited for it. It was like a rites of passage. Like you wanted to have your hair straight. And now I think I've been since 2010, 2011 without a relaxer. How about you, Jenny?
Hmm. Yeah, it's been beautiful. I love it. I
Yes.
just like, and then the whole time, like, there was nothing wrong with my hair, but
And
it's
just
just,
I saw you a few days ago and your hair was in its natural state and you was like, "Imma straighten my hair." So that's the fun
mhm,
thing too when you're natural, you could go straight, curly, put braids in, wig, do whatever you wanna do, but when you're in a relaxer, you stuck.
you're stuck. You're stuck. Right.
Yeah, yes. So, okay, so Jenny, before we get to your big announcement that you're gonna make, I definitely wanted to share just a little personal story because when I met Jenny, gosh, Jenny, I think I met you 2021, maybe somewhere
2020.
around
It was
there.
during COVID.
It was during COVID, and my dad passed away right before COVID, December
Hmm.
2019. And my mom was wanting to get a painting of him drawn. And I've seen all these amazing pictures that Jenny has drawn, but Jenny has never seen my dad. So I was like, okay, Jenny, I can give you whatever you need. So Jenny kept asking me for all these different pictures, and I'm going to share my screen because when I tell you, Jenny, remember Jenny, I was how I said, "That's my daddy,
Yeah.
that's my daddy, Jenny, that's my daddy." I said, she did it. She captured the essence of my father without ever meeting him. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Y'all look at this. Anybody that know Vernon Frazier Vaughn Jr., born 1947, served his country proud in Vietnam. You see, that's my mama house. That's his flag. My dad was a Latin percussionist. So you got his congas, you got his shakeré, you got his maracas, you got all the stuff.
Mhm.
And that looked just like my dad. Can you just talk a little bit, Jenny, about how do you do it? How do you do this?
It's God. I just have to say that it's so we were having a conversation about your dad. I was like, well, tell me about a little bit about your dad, because I had to know who this person was first before I draw. Anytime I'm drawing a person, I got to
Yes.
get a little history on that person so I can get a
Uh-huh.
feeling of what that person is. And going through
Right.
the pictures, I kind of look and see what's different on one, what's on the other, and just making sure. And it's always the eyes for me, whether the eyes are open or
Yes.
closed. I think the
Yes.
eyes are what really captures a person in the story behind that person.
Oh, you hit it dead on because my dad had light gray eyes, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my goodness. So that was okay, maybe 2022, somewhere around that time. And then just last year, Jenny did this amazing picture. Look at you rocking that bald head, honey. We're gonna talk about that. Jenny Pickens is a breast cancer survivor and thriver. And Jenny captured myself, my husband, Carlos Edwards Jr., and my son, Carlos Edwards III, AKA CJ3, CJ. And we were, I think this had to be, gosh, the end of 2025. I'm not sure. But again, Jenny has never seen CJ when she drew this and maybe saw Carlos in passing. And you got Carlos better than
Mhm.
everybody. And the joke is, Carlos kept saying, "Man, my hairline ain't that far back." I said, "Man, it is." So we appreciate you, dude. Love you, baby. My forehead was giving Tyra Banks. We was like, "Can you just pull
Mhm.
it in some?" But you still captured us so good,
Mhm.
and I like that you captured CJ, who's 10 years old, looking almost a little older. Talk about that a little
Mhm.
bit because I was asking you, I'm like, "How are you gonna do this?"
Yeah, and I always tell people before I do their portraits, I take a look at my work, see if it's something you like, and I'm gonna paint or draw you the way I see you.
Period.
And that's a lot of times people are, well, that I did a painting for someone else, like that. I'm like, yeah, baby, that's you.
That's
You
you,
know,
man. You the
yeah, baby,
mirror.
that's you. I don't know what mirror you looking at, but that's you. It's just they, and it's funny to me
You
sometimes, but I don't
stupid.
take it personally anymore. I just just it's what I see. And every artist
Yes.
sees a person different. I love when someone does a portrait of me. It's like that's what they
Yes.
see of me. So
Jenny, you
yeah.
showed me a portrait recently of an interpretation of you, and it was published. And I said, okay, okay. But like you said, it is in the eyes of the beholder, the person that is the creative. So I just appreciate that because I'm looking at that photo right now. I'm facing my kitchen. As soon as you walk in, a lot of more you think royalty and back in the day, even biblically,
Mm,
every I want to have my legacy. Like everybody has all this artwork, and I definitely want to fill my house with a lot of black, rich artwork. But I want my family, a family portrait in my house, and I want to make sure I gift all my family members like a family portrait for them to always have because I feel like that is an amazing gift that you have that lasts forever.
it is. It really is. And then the thing about it, generations that see it, you'll see that person in that. It's like that looks like great great granddad when he was a little boy. You know, it just
Yes.
it's amazing to me how we look so much like each other.
Yes. And so with the painting that you did for Daddy and for me, what materials did you use? I don't know what the proper terms are because I know you say you use watercolors, you use this, acrylics. I don't know what the proper term of the paint. Okay.
Acrylic paints. I've used pretty much every medium of that you can use, but I started out using oil paints for a friend of mine in high school. He loved the Grateful Dead, and I did all the albums for him. And then he owes me money. I have to
Wow.
think about it, but
Shout him out.
but I
Say his
did.
name right here. We're gonna find him. This is
But
period.
I I didn't like the way it took so long to dry, and the smell of it. And so when I got turned on
Oh,
to acrylics, and I'm like, oh my God, these dry fast. They can look like oils, they can look like watercolors,
yes.
and they come in so many variety of bright colors, and I love that. So it's been my that's my thing.
That's
I
your
love,
go-to.
yeah.
Gotcha. So, Jenny, we have a big announcement. We were kind of just fluffing a little bit, giving time for people to come on the live. If they miss it, they can also see this on the Veronica Edwards Show YouTube channel. But what is your big announcement for 2026 that you would want everyone that supports you, that hate on you, that love
Mhm.
on you to know what you're doing in 2026?
Well, I'm officially a RAD artist. So I have a studio space located in Rendezvous, which is next to the Radical Hotel in the River Arts District. And
Woo!
it's quite a blessing to be finally in a space. And
Yes.
your show's the first place that I've announced it because
Exclusive. Aaron, producer, do you hear this? This is an exclusive. Jenny Pickens, self taught artist, owner, founder, Jenny Pickens LLC, honey, will be a resident artist at the RAD Rendezvous with over 100 artists in the River Art District, Asheville, North Carolina. Check out her website, jennypickensllc.com, and support this beautiful woman in Women's History Month and always because you have amazing artwork. And we haven't even touched on, like you said, the dolls
hmm
and like how you have the miniatures and some of these terms that a lot of people that aren't familiar with art. And you're also a teaching artist. So I also want to talk about how can people like myself that I see my son, I'm going to brag on CJ. You familiar with this, Jenny? They did this in school.
yes.
My son CJ made this. I said, how you made this? And he goes, well, they put it up on the screen. And then instead of home sweet
hmm
home, he has home sweet ocean. You can't tell me my baby ain't
That's
no
how it
Picasso.
starts. That's how it starts.
And he's 10. So if people want to work with you, because we know that you're an artist, and we're going to get back to that studio space, but as a teaching artist, are you open to people just reaching out to you saying, hey, like my son's homeschool and he goes to a learning center, and a lot of parents on Fridays, we don't have nothing to do with the kids or the weekends. Can we hire Jenny Pickens to have a session with the kids? Are you doing summer camps? Do you do one-on-one lessons? Do you do virtual? Because I have friends that are like, hey, I live in New York or I live in South Carolina, but I want to work with Jenny Pickens.
All of the above. Yes, I because
Yes.
if a child or a person has an interest in art, that's what I like, and I can just teach you so much, but at their own pace and what the- I take sometimes they're just like, well, I had one young lady who would come to my house. Well, I did a thing where you can come for like 6 weeks,
Oh,
and she loved
wow.
dragons, but she was when I tell you a very good artist, and so I started how to do a face like we do eyes this way is how we do noses and every her work is absolutely amazing. She don't come anymore now. She don't need to. Her work
My son
is
is coming to you.
amazing. But I love just nurturing that gift they got and just letting them know. And I think the words of encouragement, even when I'm teaching like the smaller ones, I start off with an abstract now because I let them see because
What's an abstract? You know I'm an accountant.
abstract doesn't have form, doesn't have lines, doesn't have a particular meaning or focus
Definition.
on it. It's just more of expression. And
Okay.
so in colors, and once you load your colors and how to put those together, what works together. And art is really everybody's an artist, and all you're doing is you're taking this surface and you're expressing yourself. You just got to learn how to use the tools.
I love that. And what's the youngest age that you will work with?
Um, I do kindergarten grades now,
So
so
5.
yeah, yeah, that's how
And
I
I
started.
like that you almost consult with the person you're working with and you see what they like, what media that they like. So, I have I'm about to do a consult with Jenny. I have a 10-year-old, soon to be 11-year-old son. He likes painting, but he loves anything Transformers, dinosaurs, the planets, Marvel. He's a boy. But what would you start him off with to try to figure out, well, what does he like?
You know, one thing about art when you're drawing something, everything's a shape. So it takes you back to squares, triangles, circles. Everything's a shape. And you build from that shape.
Mm.
That gives them a better understanding because I see things in black and white and 3D. It's like I
Okay.
can see. If I'm looking at something, that's why when I'm drawing something, I can see the back of it, I can see the front of the side of it. It's just how I'm programmed, I guess. So
Yes.
that's why I say everything's a shape. Once you learn your shapes, you soften them up, and this is how you form whatever you need to do. And it's easier to learn
Mm.
that way.
Because it blew me away, excuse me, when I had saw that George, is it George W. Baby George Bush? He's become this amazing artist. He took lessons later in life. Like that was his thing after he came out of the presidency.
Hmm.
And even though I wasn't a fan while he was in, I love me some George Bush. He'd be sitting next to
Right.
Michelle. And I feel like this creative side, he's let take over. And I always say the creatives are so much fun. I love teaching artists and creatives because I'm used to, I spent all these years, almost 2 decades in that corporate world where you
Mm,
couldn't even wear your hair really like this without people kind of being like, what's going on? And you couldn't show tattoos. And it was very conservative. So I love that you can be abstract. That's why I was like, what does abstract mean? Because everything's either black and white in accounting.
right.
So, but you live in 50 Shades of Gray, honey. Like you have all the
Mm.
colors. We're not gonna go there, Miss Pickens. Don't. This is live, baby. This is not your regular episode.
Hmm.
So, Miss Pickens, let's get back to this space that you had. How did you get this space in the River Art District with over 100 artists after Hurricane Helene in an area that's still, very vulnerable to the effects of a hurricane?
Well, it was Alexandra Ravenel from Noir Collective. I also spoke with Mr. Matthew Bacote, and also I think the arrangement was made with.
Are you talking about legendary Matthew Bacotes? Like tell everybody, listen, if they don't know about Mr.
Oh
Bacotes. I
yeah,
hope I'm saying
Mr.
his name
Mr.
right.
Bacote is quite the gentleman. He's 95, or he might even be older than I think he just had a birthday, so he's probably 96. The man can
Mhm.
still dance,
We
and
were
he's
at
been
a
like a local.
party.
Yes,
Shout
and
out
I
to
believe he won.
RSAA. Yes, Sneaker
Right,
Gala
right.
2025. He was cutting the rug, bumping into me and Jenny. We said, hold up. What's he doing? He's always out in the street in the community, but he owned a warehouse in the River Art District, right? He was a man of color back in the day that
Yeah,
owned a manufacturing plant, right?
yep. Which was Fram, or was it Fram? It's called Fram, which is now the Wedge, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Anybody that knows the wedge in that area, that Greenway area that they've recreated down there, that was, and it makes sense. It was right by the railroad tracks. And
Hmm.
so now he's become this legend where you'll just see him walking the streets. He'll be at grind coffee shop. He's at all these places and supporting so many black folk in Asheville. It's like he still wants to keep pushing that entrepreneurship and he's almost a century old.
He does it in silence. He does not like. He doesn't broadcast what he's doing. He
Right.
just works in silence, and that's what I love about him.
Shout
But
out to
yeah,
Mr. McCoats.
and also I didn't mention Jeffrey Burrows is also the president of the Red Art District,
Okay.
and Jeffrey, if I didn't say that right, I apologize. But
Y'all
I
know what
know
we
you're,
mean.
yeah. But he definitely is one of the people who spearheaded it, and I'm not only am I have a space there, but there's also Jerry Suttles and Margot Vaughn. They're next to me, right beside me. They're selling some art as well. But it's good to have the more people of color in that area,
Yes.
because people are looking for it, and like I say, not
Yes.
just I don't consider it black art. I say black art is anything made with black hands, and they could be cooking or anything. It's just my art. It speaks of my culture and my history, and
Yes.
that's, like I said, it's nothing.
American history.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I had the privilege of getting a little sneak peek. I went to Jenny's studio last week, which is gorgeous, and it kind of gave me the feel, not to like say a flea market, but you know what I mean? Like it's this space with all these different um artists and it's like this nice collective, but then it also has the feel almost like a visitor center. You have a shop, like, and you could
Mhm.
it had I was like, Jenny, you need to have like an open house, and I just could see things like food and an event. It's a really nice environment to be creative and everyone can lock their things up. So many people just said hello to us when I was in there and we met after
Mhm.
hours. So I love that you have that space. Why is it so important, Jenny, for an artist to have space? Because I think a lot of times people are like, well, you could just do it in your house or if you got a garage or whatever. Why is that so important? Because, like you said, you've been doing art for over 40 decades. And this is really, is this the first time you've had a dedicated space?
Yeah, really. The first time I rented a space from Joe Ransmeyer, which is a woodworker, and the space I was in wasn't very conducive for me. I was thankful that I had the space, but
Sure.
he also cut wood, so a machine was beside me. There was somebody else that had a machine, so dust was everywhere. But
Hmm.
and it was different. The art's different was a little different back then, so you didn't really have a lot of art and a lot of studio space. But now that it's technically on the map and it's an artsy place, and we've got the River District was voted number one art district in America. So
What?
yes, so that makes a difference to show. And art, it's just so important that we as artists and creators, we have a space that people can come visit. Like nobody ever, I don't know too many people want everybody in their home. That's a sacred space. That's a private place.
Exactly.
But if I had something to add it on, that'd be fine. But your own home is,
Detached.
yeah, detached. Yeah, your home is a personal. But having a and another thing about being in a space like that, you get inspired by the other artists.
Yes, when we were just walking through, you was like, "Next time you come, I wanna walk you around," because we both were short on time, but I just liked the lighting. It was bright, it was
Yes.
white, and even though I know the River Art District's a lot of older warehouse, so it's cinder block and all the things, but it doesn't
Hmm.
give that vibe. Like, it really feels like you can create in this space, and it's
Yes.
welcoming to people. When I came in, I was seeing different people of color, which we always, if you live in Western North Carolina, we'd be like, oh, there's a black person. Oh, there's a Spanish
Right.
person. This so, but I feel like it's coming back with tourism. And I love that you mentioned that the River Art District is the number one art district right now in the United States, you said, or in the world?
It's
Can't be
at
the world.
America.
So, Jenny, you've been here your whole life. We ain't gonna tell your age, but you remember a time when the River Art District, like you said, wasn't popping. When did it change? Like, was it never called the? It was always the, was it just the River District? It wasn't always the River Art District?
Um, I think they just eventually gave it that name because it was just a lot of people using the studio spaces and warehouses to have businesses out of them. And I was going out to go to the club depot, so that's why we were down that way. But
But what era was this? Was this the 90s? Was this the 2000s? Was this after Obama? Like when the
90s,
market crashed and
90s,
okay.
2000 is when the art, because that's when I was working at Green's Mini Market. So that was when they started like having art studios, like really
Hmm.
art studios, and I think the Pink Dog and
Yes. Which you
places
did
like
some
that.
work for the
So
Pink Dog, right?
I actually did. I did a train container,
Yes.
and that was one of. And I had an art exhibit doing at the same time, 2017, and I did a mural of. Uh, it was called Zola's Embrace, which means peaceful earth, and it was Mother
Yes.
Earth with a quilt of the world, and she was just putting love back into the
You
world,
was out there
and
for
that
a while.
yeah, that the and the crazy thing about that mural, it connected me with so many people. I would see it on posts and like, that's my mural. Oh, I was wondering who did that mural. And it just opened up a lot of doors as well too. So
Yes.
because I want my art to reach people, like
Hmm.
it's not all about like a pretty picture to match a sofa. It's about it's reaching you and just like capturing you and telling a story that speaks for you.
Right.
And so not everybody, and I know that the work I do, not everybody's going to appreciate it, but there
That's
are a
fine.
lot that do, so
That part.
that's why when
Shout
so
out
many
to Pink Dog, also good friend to the show, Julietta Funberg. She has a studio out there too. There's a lot of great artists in the River Art District, and I'm glad to see that there's a lot of Helene grants that are still coming through and that they're doing programs like this where they're just opening up more space to have more artists because I like that. I like that collective where you can be inspired and you can get ideas from different people. And it also gives a little competition too. It helps you
right,
sharpen, your tools a little
exactly.
bit.
And
So,
also helps. Oh, go
yes,
ahead.
no, please talk
Also, it
about
also
that.
helps like if a person has never had space or done anything
Yes.
like that before, it shows you how it works, how the steps go, what it takes to be in spaces like that, what you need to keep up with, and I love that.
Yeah, because I know we've talked because I haven't mentioned, but Jenny Pickens is a client of mine, and I have the honor of doing her books. And this has always been the end goal is Jenny needs her own space, the own studio. And this studio space you have for a limited time. So we definitely want folks, if you have space available, I'm Jenny's manager. I'm always like, take the highest. Jenny's always, I'm
Right.
like, it's too low. I don't know. Yesterday's price is not today's price. But we're thankful for the space, but we need more of these things. And I'm just so glad because I know at a time you're like, I don't know if I want to be in this space versus this space. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
be selfish and you have to be intentional. We talk about this all the time with business coaching with your brand. And so you don't always just because someone's going to offer you a free space. And I know that saying you're a starving artist, so you're working all these jobs so you could be available for your art, but don't water it down. And so I definitely want to talk to you, Jenny, about pricing because I know that's hard. I work with artists all the time. I'm always telling Jenny, how much is it? And Jenny's like, whatever you want to give me. I'm like, I don't have that brain. So,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a struggle a lot of times with artists because if you really broke down the cost, it could take you 30 hours to create something. You can't charge somebody an hourly rate for what you created. So
Mm-hmm.
how have you learned that, Jenny? Are you still working on that?
I, I'm 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 at this point where I've been in the game a long time, and you're buying my experience and my expertise.
Talk
Because
that
by this
talk,
time
Jenny Pickens. Talk that talk.
I'm not no penny person, and sometimes, well, I would get that for you, but it's too expensive. Well, it just doesn't fit your price range right now. But I'm not gonna
Right.
lower my price just because you want a piece of art. But eventually you'll get there. But
Yeah.
I that low balling no more. And
Mm-mm.
and it's
I'm so proud of
because
you.
it's just you're taking a part of my soul, a part of who I
Mm.
am. So
Mm.
my pieces can't just go anywhere. I have a lot of pieces here. I'm like, you got that head back there, yeah, because I want to go to a person that's gonna appreciate it.
Right.
So
And Jenny, you schooled me on there's a difference with prints versus is it original work? I don't even know what the
original.
right term.
Hmm.
Right. So a print is a less expensive,
Yes.
but that original, what you drew of my dad, that's an original. What you drew of my family, that's an original. And
Right.
so a lot of times I'll have artists and they're like, Veronica, how can I cost this? And I'm like, well, you got to think about what you think the value is, not even as you as the artist, what you would pay for it. Because sometimes we can't afford our own art.
Hmm.
And what I love about you, Jenny, is you've always, as long as I've known you've been online. And I
Yeah.
tell artists that all the time. Yes, Asheville's number one art district in America, but not everybody is going to pay. Because, like you said, a lot of people are coming from out of town. But if you're a working artist that lives in Western North Carolina, especially after Hurricane Helene, you are not getting people in paying $500, $1,000 every weekend on multiple pieces.
Right.
It's just not happening. So I think I definitely want people listening that are artists or budding artists. Online is the way to go to have multiple ways that people can buy your art because Jenny, you've worked with different art councils, museums, schools, so many different areas, actual restaurants, places, woodworkers, you name so many different things where you've worked with people. And it's just one of those things where you have to diversify those different streams of income. So
Hmm.
even with you being in the game all these years, if you had a budding artist, especially in Women's History Month, a woman artist, what advice would you give them? What is something you wish you knew that you knew now?
I wish someone would have talked to me about just believing in myself and knowing that you
Mm,
have a story to tell, a- and this is the thing I just have to talk about this.
talk about it.
When you're an artist and you're looking
Hmm.
at watching someone else who's kind of pretty much well established, and you say, "Oh my God, they're making that type of art. It sells. I'm going to create that type of art so people can buy my art." It doesn't work that way. If your heart and is not in a piece that you make, and you're
Hmm.
copying some, I know we all get it's different, but getting inspiration from someone, but to
Hmm.
go out and just totally copy their style and try to be that person, you can't, because your work's not going to tell the same story.
Jenny, you sound like you talking from experiences.
I am, and I've learned over time. Like my dad used to make this a thing he would say all the time about peanut butter. It's like you go into the store, look at all the brand of peanut butter, all different kinds of. They're sitting in the store. Somebody in there is gonna like a certain brand of peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's like artists. The right client or the right person is gonna find your art and fall in love with it. You're gonna have your
Yes.
own. But I don't go into this as a competition. I'm competing against myself every single day that I make something.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
online looking at somebody. I'm like, oh my God, how did they do that? I love people who just create with their hands and make things. That's why I love most of my work is African people because I love
Yes.
like these earrings. I love the fact that they have taken materials they got sourced and they're creating things.
Yes.
And
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 it's
and
beautiful.
and when you're an artist, you be true to what you love. And not listening to these people in your ear to, oh well, they told me, oh, you do too many different things. You need to be doing mountains. You live in North Carolina. Why do I need to paint mountains?
Mountains ain't talking about
They
nothing.
did not tell Thomas Kincaid to paint the projects. He painted lighted houses, right? You paint what you know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
paint what I know and what I'm
Right.
familiar with. Now, if somebody wants to commission me to do some flowers, there you go.
Now, what does it mean to be commissioned?
They will ask you to do a painting or a project form, and they make payments. They'll do a deposit on it, and then maybe pay in between till it's done, or they'll pay the deposit and then pay for the finished piece.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
usually I'll go, well, what's your price range?
You're very
Because I'm not going to
reasonable.
do a $10,000 painting and you only got $500. It doesn't work like that.
Right. You might need a print.
So yeah,
Right.
you
Right.
might need
And
it.
And I love that you talk about being original because I just think, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer. Brainer. All of these artists are because my brain is so opposite from that. But Jenny put me on the fact that people using AI even in
Mm.
art. I thought that was just, and for wordsmithing and marketing stuff like that. So you got artists, Jenny, that you could tell they doing AI.
Yeah, I get it.
Wow.
Because it's just I think we just so caught up in this new thing, and to each his own.
We
I
ain't judging.
personally
We ain't
like,
judging.
yeah, I just personally like the touch of a pencil in my hand, a paintbrush in
Mm,
my hand, getting the paint on the floor, getting it on my hand, or
right.
get later on it's down on my elbows. I wonder how it got there. I am just that physical touch is just it's
It's
more for
necessary.
me. Even when I'm sewing, there's that fabric, feeling that fabric, you
Hmm.
know. And I get it. Everybody just want quick to do stuff, and it's just the whole
Right.
process of you know.
And I'm sure they'll say, it's just like you said, it's just kind of like a blueprint, and then I'll mock it up. But I just, like you
Mhm,
said, it's just missing that piece. It's kind of like probably where the old school DJs are like, you can't just do that on an MP3 player or on your
mhm.
laptop. You want to feel the turntables and all the things and actually create that mix. So, Jenny, I want to go back to what we talked about a little bit with you being a breast cancer survivor.
Mhm.
Definitely want to shout that out. Anybody that also knows my mom's journey, Jenny Pickens and my mom, Dorothy Vaughn, are very good friends. Jenny sent my mom a nice care package. Jenny, thank you so much. And of
Yeah.
course, the connection with drawing my father, my mom's husband. So, Jenny, tell us as much as you want to about your breast cancer journey, because again, I feel like everyone's stories can help inspire someone that's either going through it, about to go through it. Everyone knows someone that's been affected by breast cancer.
Yeah, on September 24th, I went and got
Of which year?
of 20. I had to write this down because I would always forget 2024.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, I had to get a exam or a mammogram, and it came back something was not right with it or whatever, which they kind of figured it may be, may not be, and I didn't really know. So I was supposed to go have a biopsy done on the 26th, which that's when the storm it came.
I was just gonna
So
say, everybody in Asheville knows Hurricane Helene was like September 27th, that time frame. So right before you get
yeah,
this, oh, my nerves would have been
so
shot.
I couldn't get to a doctor, couldn't call the doctor, couldn't. So I had no idea to know. So I'm
Mm,
thinking, and I with no knowledge of breast cancer itself. I had two people in my family that died from cancer, but it wasn't breast.
Right.
So I'm thinking, is it growing? Is it getting bigger every day? Is it, but I
Right.
had
I
to like,
feel it now, like
yeah,
everything.
it was just all this stuff was going through my head. And then I got the storm, you got no power, you got no phone, you got no access to anything. Luckily I was at my daughter's house, and just had to go in a
Shout
different
out
mode.
to Tori White Garrison, Executive Director of RSAA. I am the fractional CFO. I'm just throwing it out there. Go ahead, Jenny. Go ahead. Shout out to Tori.
And had it not been for her and her organization, when we were able to get, the road was blocked and it was able to get clearing and get out of there. Went to her organization and started like doing the distribution, and to getting all the supplies she had at
I
her
wasn't
office.
playing.
And it was just like I had to go in a different mode, because the whole time, like, we didn't tell anybody, like nobody in the family, we didn't tell anybody, it was just us, just
Right.
and my son. That's what my son. And so we were just like not knowing. It was the fact of not knowing. And
When I tell you that knowing is so hard, even when it's just a day or two, and then to know that we're going through this whole storm, you're like, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? Yeah, it's hard.
I had to do, once I finally got the biopsy done, after everything cleared, I was able to go to a different location to get it done. And the day after my birthday, I had to do the what's that, what's that, you do the video for the doctor,
Telehealth. And is
telehealth.
your birthday, am I getting it right? October 28th?
28th, the 29th, I found out it was confirmed it was cancer. So I was like, happy birthday to me.
Wow. Dang on.
So then, yeah, I know. I was like, what a birthday gift. And so
Yeah,
it was explaining to me the different things, what it was, and I have to have so many tests to figure out what type of cancer. and
it's a
and she did put
lot
me
of
at ease,
information.
but the fact of just like the storm, I'm going through my own personal storm, and readjusting things, and it was just really crazy. But I wound up, it was stage one, and they caught it in the early stage. They had a test to see if it I had to wind up getting, and I know this is crazy, but thank goodness I had large boobs, because that
Shout
saved my
out to the,
life.
I'm a triple D. Shout out to the deep
Yeah,
boobs.
I'm telling you, it saved my life, because they were able to cut the more around the area, and also they gave me a breast reduction at the same time.
Come
And
on, breast reduction. Give me a little
yeah,
snip,
so
nip, tuck
I
too.
know,
Come on.
right? And so I got all that done and came home the same day. I only stayed in bed because I had to. They told me I'm not supposed to get up, but the next day I was up, and
I was checking
I
up on
was like,
Jenny,
didn't
like,
take
what you
any
doing?
pain meds. And you know what I did? I couldn't go to work. I just kicked in the art. I just
You
started making.
did. You did. And you did it with so much grace and class. And I would check up on Jenny and you would never even have known. And I remember either you were braiding my hair, we were talking, and Jenny was like, I think I'm gonna get me some wigs. I said, man, Jenny, I don't see you in no wigs. I said,
Mm,
you looked so beautiful with a bald head. And you've just straightened it, but when it shrinks up, I like the length. It's like the
mm,
young lady in your photo, your portrait behind you. But when you're gorgeous, honey, you can do anything. So
mm.
now, how long has it been since you've rung all the bells? I've learned this too. I didn't know you rang a bell for radiation. You ring a bell for, girl. I know you tired of ringing the bells.
Yeah,
So
right.
are you done with everything?
Yeah, January 20th of this year, I've completely done with everything. So no radiation. I had aggressive chemo radiation, then like the main, what they call maintenance.
Hmm.
And I rang that bell January 20th. I told myself, I like y'all, but I won't see y'all no more. I
Okay.
got Yeah, I got them some cookies made. My daughter contacted a lady that makes cookies, and for the nurses, because everybody was so
They become
so
your
good and so nice.
family.
Yeah, they were.
And a lot of times, especially in Western North Carolina, I feel like the hospital systems get a bad rap. But
Hmm.
hearing your experience, even when I've had a hysterectomy, I'm shouting out Mission Hospital. I had a great experience. I
Yeah.
had an amazing experience. So I just thank God that everything worked out, that you're still thriving. Is there anything that you would want to tell anybody that is dealing with breast cancer or has family members dealing with breast cancer? What are things that you would say, don't say, or this is helpful, or just anything that can help people navigating that journey?
I'll tell you what. The thing is not to go down that rabbit hole. I cut off people who were calling me, oh, crying. I don't want to hear that. I Because when I found out, I was like, okay. Now what's next? And my daughter's like, I cannot believe how my mom handled this. She's like, I've cried more than my mom. But
Yeah.
I look at it
Yeah.
like this. God chose me for a reason to do this and go through this. And
Yep.
maybe it was a reason because it told me who was there for me, who wasn't there, who I thought would be.
Yep.
You want to
Yep.
surround yourself by people who are going to uh, have keep your spirits up. You
Yes.
definitely don't want that negative stuff and the crying. And those are and a phone call goes a long way.
Sure
It
do.
and I want to thank you because you sent me flowers, you sent me gift card. I mean, I'm telling you, yeah,
That's my Jenny
I
Pickens.
food. You was like order something. I mean, things like that was just
Yep.
it meant so much to me. And I had
Yeah.
known you that long, and I had
Yeah.
people like family members that didn't even reach out like that.
Yeah. I
And
probably
it's
know Jenny like 5 years.
yeah, and it was crazy. It's like, but
But
yeah,
you just when real meets real, and I met our origin story is that I met Jenny and I met her daughter Tori White Garrison, the baddest executive director in the land. Dollar, Google us, RSAA baby. They were in a Mountain Bizworks class that I was teaching. It was my first mother daughter duo. They were so sweet.
mm,
We were talking sidebar during the class. We stayed after the class, and we've been fast friends ever since. And it was just so nice to meet African American women that were from Asheville and that was so vibrant and embraced me because it can go both ways. And I get it. Once you're in an area for a while, like I
mm,
feel like I'm an Ashevillean and I've been here 10 years, and you'll see people from Florida or New York or places, and they're the big shiny thing. And then they leave, but they're getting all the resources and all the grants. And a lot of times you're
mm,
like, man, I'm from here and I've been grinding and I've been supporting my community, but
mm,
you guys still embraced me. And I appreciate that because I know I can be a lot. So either you love me or you hate me. And Jenny is a creative. So Jenny gets to be like, girl, be you. Jenny's like
yeah,
my mama, like, go dance, act stupid, like perform. And you just allow me to be me. So of course, I was like, as soon as you told me all the things, Jenny would be like, oh, we can meet this place. I'm like, we're not gonna meet. I was like, you're still in treatment. I was like, we
right.
could do everything virtually and don't even worry about it. And I mean, you're just such a blessing. So I just appreciate you trusting me to help you with your finances and your business stuff. Because as we talked about, even though Jenny is a teaching artist, we all got to have our day jobs, but Jenny is also an artist. She has this space. So Jenny, to wrap up Women's History Month too, I also want to just ask you, what does it mean to you to step fully into your creativity and your calling as a woman? It sounds like you've gone through this evolution. We joke, Jenny's done every job. Jenny's worked, Jenny could
Mhm.
do makeup, Jenny could do hair, Jenny's an artist. You worked in a grocery store. I don't know what you haven't done. You've taught before in all grade
Nail tech,
levels, the nail tech. Do
cookie
you
cutter.
have a
I mean,
cosmetology degree or
I had
certification?
Medicare's license. I had
She's
a
got
Medicare.
everything. So Women's History Month, a lot of times after Black History, we be tired after Black History. And then we get to
Mm.
Women's History, they forget about us sometimes. So what does that mean to you? Like, how did you step into that calling for who you define yourself as a woman?
You know, going through this health journey, I will say this really kind of like woke me up. I always tell
Hmm.
people, um, self care, do this, and I didn't even take my own advice. I was talking to my boss. It was today, matter of fact, and I was like, you know what? The thing about us, we take care of people. We want to make sure everybody's good. I said
Yeah.
that's what tears us down a lot of times. We're so focused on helping, and I feel sometimes bad if I do something for myself, and I'm
Yes.
like, no more of that.
Yes.
So my spring break, I'm breaking.
And we're
And
talking about this for business owners. It's springtime, it's spring cleaning. It's even if you don't have a spring break, it's time to have a spring break. Yes. Good for
yeah,
you.
I'm gonna enjoy being a black. I love being a black woman, and what and stuff I'm hearing in the news that don't define me, and I'm not letting it define me.
I
So
don't
I'm
like
gonna keep doing my art and hopefully empower some more black women to step into what their truth is. And it's
yeah.
hard, I get it, but that's our journey. That's how we're able to tell our stories.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. A lot of times it can feel like doom and gloom. I've gotten to the point where I will read the news, selected things that I want to know just so I'm not completely ignorant of what's going on. But there's
Right.
certain people I just can't hear their voice.
Mm,
Jenny and I, we talked about that too with social media. Some people you just got to block from your feeds because it's
mhm.
just too much. And it is true that what you put into your mind, what goes in, it's going to affect you. So I do try to limit all of that noise. And just like you said with your breast cancer journey, you're right. You cannot have people telling you, "Oh my God, feeling sorry for you. What are you going to do?" Because now you're already defeated. Like you already think I'm going to die.
Mhm. Right.
And it's so funny because we've been watching all these little animated movies. In recent, we've been going to Universal, like that's our family trip. So we were
Mm.
watching Kung Fu Panda for any families that know about Kung Fu Panda. And it was talking about believing. Here it
Yep.
is, this big panda. Nobody thought that this panda could be this Kung Fu warrior. And they're like, oh, you got to get this power. But then when he saw that it wasn't really power, like some potion, it was believing in yourself. So
Mhm.
it's like if we're telling young people to believe in themselves, I think sometimes we forget you have to parent yourself. You got to be kind to yourself. Treat yourself like the 5-year-old version of Jenny. Would you be always criticizing every little thing? You didn't do this, you didn't do that. The fact that you've been creating your whole life
Mhm.
and that it's not by chance that after this health journey you went through, and you said that you completed your um, um, treatments January 20th. When did you get into your studio space?
Actually, right before February 1st.
Look at God.
Yeah.
Like once that chapter closed, you have
Mhm.
this whole new, now you're ready. Now you're ready for all the things to come. So, Jenny, we're almost to the end. So, I would love for you to share all the things that you're going to be doing for the remainder of the year or the different type of art. If you want to show any of the art that you have, because I love your dolls. Them dolls ain't cheap either. They good dolls. And just all the different artwork that you have that's available for people to purchase because you have things ranging from $8 all the way up to, like you say, where you could be commissioned and then that's specific to the person. So it's not that we're negotiating, but we're working with people's budgets and you can vary things in the different medias because since you are a multi mixed media artist, there's options. So how can people reach you? What are the things that you're doing? Are you going to have a grand opening of your space? All the things. Tell us, tell us, tell
Yeah,
us.
we're gonna have a grand opening of the space. We're gonna get some dates together to figure
Mm-hmm.
out what works for everybody, and I think it's gonna be like a little walking kind of a tour, and end up and down at Rendezvous, which is will be great, I think.
I love that
And
name too, Rendezvous. Like,
yeah, I like that. And
yay!
I waited, like I said, I waited to talk about it because I want to make sure I was satisfied the way I had arranged everything in there, and I
You're
still
such
got.
a thinker because Jenny just kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, I got a studio. I was like checking in on her. I'm like, what you mean you got a studio? I want to know about the studio space. You've been in this studio like a month. I'm like, girl, almost 2 months. So when are you gonna let people come? Come on now.
I'm gonna try to be there like on the weekends for sure, but they're open 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays. Um,
But
so
when
it's
you're
open.
not there, your space is locked. Can't nobody get
Yeah,
into
you can look in there
anything.
and see. Now you can get your eyes full now, and I've got a few paintings on the outside wall. I don't think they do have a system where you can, if a person walks and sees something they want to buy it, they can buy it right then,
Right.
and then leave them. I don't think that's something I want to do. I want them to contact me, so I do have a
What is the best way to contact you? And Aaron, behind the scenes producer, will put it all in there. Is it just the JennyPickensLLC.com?
Yeah, it's a QR code that's there, and they can scan it and it goes straight to the website. So you can leave a message on there if you're interested in something, and then I'll return it from that. But I do have a few things coming up. My daughter and I got awarded this apprenticeship, this 2025 North Carolina Folk Life Apprenticeship, and I'm teaching her. She's my
Which is
mentor.
so funny. My blackest Black Panther friends are folk life.
Yeah.
Grip. Get that money. I ain't mad at you.
And
Okay.
so I'm gonna be teaching her traditional doll making and community textile arts. So she gets with me every so often and we go over the song. Well, I have to admit she catches on pretty good now. She must
You
get it from her
know,
mom, I guess.
that sort is like a genius. Like anything that she kind of focuses on, she's pretty exemplary at.
Yeah, so we've got some dates we're gonna put together, finalize some dates, and then I'll have them posted on my website. So we're gonna have doll circles where people can have it like we're gonna start off with
All
10.
circles.
Yeah, dolls are where you can bring a article of a piece of clothing or something, something tangible, and we're gonna create a doll. It's not gonna be anything elaborate like the dolls I do, but it's something kind of simple, but it'll have some
Mhm.
meaning to it. And it's easier to instead of hanging on the clothes or somebody that you're not gonna wear again, it's just something tangible you can pass along.
So Jenny, I'm gonna be
Also,
a little jokey. You know, I'm from the South. I'm like, this ain't no voodoo dolls or nothing like that. What kind of dolls are these you talking about? Like
uh,
what?
speaking of that, I had someone one time come up to me at the Big Crafty, which I'll tell you I'm gonna be in that one this year.
Oh, we gotta talk about the Big Crafty before we go too, because that was
Yeah,
a
she's like,
thing.
all right.
Until I moved to Western North Carolina, I never heard of the Big Crafty. But tell me your story about your voodoo doll.
And well, she's like, are these voodoo dolls? And I'm thinking now, first of all, why would you ask me, are they voodoo dolls? Is it because I'm a black woman? Or is it because they don't have a face, but they're dressed up in fancy clothes? There's no pins sticking in them. So what exactly were you trying to say? But I just looked at her and thought, no, because
Bless your heart.
and that's only because I was being professional.
Because Jenny can pull it out. That
Because that was
Livingston,
just a
right?
dumb thing to ask somebody. Like, why would you ask me anything like that? But anyway,
Right.
so yeah, so I just got accepted into the Big Crafty again. I applied for it. It will be July 11th and 12th. It is inside Harris Cherokee Center, which is in Asheville, downtown. Used to be what we know as the Civic Center. This will be
Hmm.
my sixth year, maybe. Might be seventh. It might be
Oh
more than that.
wow.
But they usually have it
Tell
twice a
me,
year, July and December.
what's the
And
Big Crafty?
when I
Let's
tell
tell
you
people
it's
about this.
over 150 artists, I may be off a few numbers, but
From
when I
all
say it's
over
like
the
two floors,
world.
2 floor. Well, they have to fill in an application. You have to apply for it, and so they select whoever that has something different and unique. And no two things are the same. And they also go for anything that's handmade. And I'll tell you, it's 2 floors of some amazing artists. And I love when I
Wow.
do get a chance to walk around. It's some beautiful stuff in there. Like it's something for everybody there. And it just
Oh
amazed me
wow.
how people are so creative and thinking of ways to make things. And I love because every time I'm beside people, we wind up connecting with each other. So last in December, I met a lady, Gimme. I hope I said your name right,
Hey
Gimme.
Kimmy.
She does these beautiful dyes on these tea towels. And so I was like, I bought one from her. She's like, oh, I got one I made a mistake on. I said, I'm going to make a doll with it. So I'm going to make sure I have it when I go back in July so she can see it.
Yes, yes. All right. What else you got going on?
Um, Also, we have still have the art exhibit up called Art and Soul. No, it's Art, Earth, and Soul Collective. It's at Noir. It's actually at the corner of YMI. There used to be the pharmacy, but I have like an open gallery that's right on the corner.
Okay.
And it's provided by Henry Luce Foundation, the YMI Culture Center, and Noir Collective.
So
And
when
so
I
it'll be
Google
up until
YMI, is that downtown?
yeah,
39 South
YMI
Market Street.
39 South Market Street.
Perfect.
39, yeah, South Market Street.
Yes. Jenny, you booked and busy, honey. And
So
so also if people want to do you do private lessons? If people want to reach out to you, a child from 5 all the way up to the great Matthew, I don't want to butcher his name. Is it Bacotes?
the coat. Mm-hmm.
Bacote 95. So from 5 until the end of life, you can teach them and meet them where they are. Do you go to folks? Do you find a central space or do people have to come to you
I would prefer to go to them, but I'm still
or
trying to the
virtual?
space I'm at, yeah, or virtual. The space I'm in now is not really conducive to teach in the space. It's for me like to work but we I think they're coming up with an area that they're gonna have that can be a studio space, which will be really good. But yeah, they can just contact me and we'll see what works for them.
Yes. Well,
I'm open.
Jenny, my cup is empty, and it's almost 7 o'clock, friend. Is there any, and your water's up, so you can get some extra water after we get done. Jenny, is there anything else that you want to say? I'm just so thankful for you coming on. I just appreciate you sharing your gift, your story with us tonight. For anybody watching, remember Jenny is going to have her episode coming on April the 16th. We'll find some other things to chat about, but we're really going to dive into you being at RAD and the different services you have, even any particular artwork or things that you're really promoting? You mentioned about the Big Crafty, but anything else, Jenny, that you want to leave people with before we leave tonight?
No, just make sure that you are supporting artists. Artists really rely on people to just customer and clients and the shared experience. And if you're not, if something of a piece doesn't fit for you, at least share it. Share that there's an artist that does this type of work. There's
Yeah.
an artist that does this type, even if it's not for you. But we really need the support because that's our livelihoods.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jenny Pickens. And everybody, please check out Miss Pickens in the River Art District at Rendezvous and come back to the Veronica Edwards YouTube channel April the 16th when this episode airs. And we also have a new episode on April the 2nd, The Growth Code, with my good friend, my sister, Ebony Sharonda. Again, Jenny Pickens, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you,
for
thank
having
you.
me.
Absolutely. Till next time, guys. We'll see ya.